All right. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Hope everybody had a good day in the stock market. A lot of things went up and a lot of things went down, so there's always room for opportunity. But overall, it's an amazing day. That's what makes the stock market great: the ability to make money, but also the chance and the fear of also being caught on the downside too. But some of the stocks that we're looking at right now are healthcare and biotech. And so on, what was it, Wednesday? No, it was Friday when the new strain news came out from COVID, and the entire market sank except for vaccination stocks. So I'm going to go to those right now. That's what we're going to talk about right now. Um, all of these did really good on Friday, and over the weekend it kind of simmered, and nobody really knew. It was kind of dependent on the news that was going to come out from the new strain, whether it was nothing really to worry about or if it's going to be like Delta, where it was way worse than the previous variant. And depending on that, that was going to kind of shape out how the market, how it shaped out on Monday, which is today. And so the news was kind of, I'd say, pretty leveled. Nothing, they weren't any scared than like they were before, but at the same time, they weren't treating it like it was nothing to be concerned about. They are still shutting down travel restrictions and things like that. So we had continuations from Moderna, another gap up, which is crazy, and Pfizer. I think Moderna and Pfizer were the biggest winners from this. And today they had Pfizer had a small pop before just selling off, even though the CEO came on and tried to say that they could quickly adjust their vaccines to accommodate for the new variant, and that their vaccines could potentially protect against it already. Moderna had, I think, a bit more of a successful day. It popped up here. A lot of people exited here in the pre-market, not knowing what's going to happen, and it did flush, but it did recover. Around here, it was NVAX. Sorry about that. NVAX had some bad news, and it sold off, and a lot of the vaccines sold off with it, but then it started coming back up, and it looks like it's holding strength. That's a sign of strength, because nobody really knew why it was selling off until they got the news from NVAX. That was confirmed, and then Moderna had nothing to worry about. Moderna's CEO also came in and talked about how they're not too worried that their vaccines can also be accommodated. So that was pretty much everything that happened today. A lot of stocks bounced back green and recovered what they lost on Friday. So it was a very good buying opportunity on Friday, but it wasn't guaranteed because things could have still sold off today. So the ones I'm watching today are biotechs and pharmaceutical companies. A lot of them have been getting FDA approval or having news. This one, PTPI, has been running all day. They got news pre-market and popped, and then kind of, I wouldn't say barcoding, but it was definitely coming down and coming up. A lot of range to play with if you catch it right. But market open, it did have a high of 5.2, and then after hours it popped up again. I was seeing this on the high ticker, and it looks like it's coming down now. And one of the reasons I'm making this video now, not after market close, because this could keep selling off or it could go up. But if I make it after market close, a lot of people who are under the pattern day trading rule, if you're swing trading a lot, you won't have an opportunity to buy if you see something that you like from here. So I like to do it right after market close and then wait for any kind of move. See if it goes up, down at market close, or if it just consolidates. Plus also a lot of companies get news after hours, which I'll show you a few examples of. I think there's 2 in here that did that. But yeah, so if you could find a buying opportunity where it's reaching these levels and about to bounce back up, that could be a buying opportunity. And then if you're swing trading, because you don't have day trades, then in the morning you can find a potential to cash out when more volume comes in, and then you could ride the wave up from there. If it retests this high or anything, you don't have to wait for the next day, buy here, and then if you don't have a day trade, you're gonna have to hold it. So PTPI definitely has volume behind it and a lot of eyes on it. BFRI, I think this one has been running since Friday, just making higher highs, but in not necessarily holding them. They're just popping and then they're coming back down, and then it'll reach a new high. That's kind of the way this has been working. Only this pre-market really is the only thing I'm seeing that was kind of consistent. And then from there, it was just kind of hitting highs and then kind of coming back down. But as you can see, it right now is a pretty good buying opportunity if this is something you might be interested in. Because if it does retest this high, there's a big range here. And your downside is about, if it's off of good news, so I can't imagine it coming lower than 4. So your downside might be $2, and your upside is almost 6. And this price target, I think it came out around $20. Doesn't mean it's going to make that move all in one day, but that's a catalyst that's going to help you on the upside. So just another way to manage your risk. If you wait till tomorrow and it does end up popping and you end up buying here, by the end of the day, if you're swing trading, or even if you're day trading, you're not going to have too much range to work with if it's already moving. And if you're swing trading, if you buy it, trying to ride the wave, you're going to have to hold it into the next day and pretty much hold this negative move until next day. And if it goes any lower, it's going to start scaring you into selling. So just buying at a good point when it's on the low and then allowing the volume to come in tomorrow and ride the wave up. That's just another good play for this. This one's going to be on watch until it really gets close to that $20 level. Once it starts hitting $15, $17, we might see some slowing down because there's not much more range to work with. But right now we're seeing a lot of volume and a lot of activity because the price target's 20 and it's sitting under 10. So a lot of range to work with and a lot of it's going to be popping and coming back down over and over again. This one's AHPI. So this one was very interesting because this one also had kind of news along with LGVN. That's another one we can look at. LGVN, BFRI, and some of the other pharmaceutical companies and the biotechs. But today I noticed around here that it was kind of quiet. And I mean, it stayed relatively quiet. It wasn't popping as big as the other days or even the other stocks, but just pretty good buying opportunity. I was seeing this on the high ticker, and it was reaching new highs on Friday. And Friday was a small trading day too, and it was still doing pretty well. So I was pretty surprised that this one was kind of small in its movement and volume, but maybe it's because so many other things are going on. But it's definitely one to watch. You could kind of get in early if it does decide to retest any highs or even come up $1. These are relatively cheap stocks, so you can get larger quantities, but there's another one to watch. KTTA. This is another one I was checking out. A lot of these function very similarly. If you're interested in like bigger stocks that are more consistent, this probably isn't going to be the watch list for that because a lot of these are acting the same way where they have news and they're popping up. But there's a lot of potential, and right now they all behave the same where they pop and they'll come back down to a level where it's not oversold but not overbought, and people just kind of hold and wait until something else happens. And then typically in the morning when more volume comes in, the ones that had momentum the previous day just end up popping, retesting highs again. So I wouldn't say you're guaranteed that it tests the high, but you could definitely play some of the range. And there's no real reason for these to sell off because they're not really oversold like here. I mean, whatever goes up comes down. So when it sells like this, I mean, unless you're shorting it, but even then, because if it's a short interest play and people are trying to like gamma squeeze it or something, then you might get caught there. It's just kind of safe to wait for a low and then see if there's a good entry. IM, this is another one I was watching. This one had a news this morning that they had a price target increase to $6, and it was trading around $1.50. So I saw this around $2, like around here. No, it was like around 180. So I figured the downside was about 50 cents to where it was trading before, and the upside was where the price target is, about $6. I didn't think it was going to reach that today, but there's a lot of range in between, and so it did end up moving past pre-market highs later in the day, and it's finishing up here too, about $2. But this one's a nice one to watch. I mean, $2 isn't necessarily around 150, but it's still pretty cheap in comparison to the $6 price target. I don't know how long it's going to take for it to even get close to that $6 price target, but if it keeps up this momentum of just popping every now and then, you can have some range to play with and make some money off that. But what I'm interested in here is typically you'd wait for them to come all the way back down, and then I mean, you do want to see higher highs, which is what this is showing, but it's kind of holding pretty well up here, almost above $2, around $2. And so if it does retest highs or have more volume in the morning, it's just kind of a sign of strength that it'll pass this maybe till about $2.30. Who knows? But I really like this one. I was watching this one all day. OLMA. Okay, so this one's an interesting one. Around here, later in the day, maybe like an hour to close, 30 minutes to close, there was news released on it that they had some kind of trial that they were going to get good news on it. And it started popping up, and then it started coming back down because the source of that had disappeared. And then it got halted down, and then it turns out that they were supposed to have news or a catalyst coming out next week, and that news might have gotten leaked early. So it halted down because people were unsure because the source was gone. But the company hasn't confirmed anything. and now it's halted. It's going to be halted probably throughout the whole aftermarket, but it's one to watch tomorrow if they even unhalt it, or maybe if they keep it halted until that news is supposed to come out. So this is going to be very interesting, but on the upside, there's a lot of upside in case that news is real, because if you look at the range here, it jumps in $2 increments and it had so much volume. I could only imagine if that's news and people are confirmed on it, like how much they're willing to pump this. So one to watch, but not one to put all your cards in. CPIX, this is one that was quiet all day and then it popped aftermarket. It's still going, it looks like. I'm not sure how much more it'll go. I'm not sure what the news was on this. I believe it was FDA approval. But yeah, so this is kind of high. Of course, you can make your own decisions here, but if you buy here and you're trying to swing trade it, it might come back down. It also might keep going up, so you might miss an opportunity, but I like buying things whenever they've shown potential and then kind of come back down and cool off. I like buying after hours because I like the idea of buying after hours, because I think the default of after hours is people selling. Nobody is really buying stocks after hours unless you're trying to swing trade and minimize your risk, or if you're trying to find a stock that just had news or earnings and a catalyst after hours, something that will ride the momentum into pre-market the next day. But if nothing's going on in the stock, a lot of people sell, and also if people don't typically pump it after hours if it cools down. So once that pattern's shown, if it starts cooling down again, typically pre-market it'll test the high, if not during market hours. So I like to see after hours as like kind of an indicator of how high it can go. And when it comes down, find a good entry point, wait for it to retest the high and play that range. And if you want to play the breakout, you can do that too. That's a whole nother stage. But yeah. And LGVN, let's take a look at that one. Got my mic in the way. But yeah, okay, so LGVN, it kind of popped, but it just retest 35. It's been doing this for a while now. But this time it didn't come all the way back down. I think previous days it would drop down to about the $16 level and then pop again. This was, I think, the first day it did that. It would do it definitely during after hours. I think this is one of the first days it hit 45. This one did it right before, but it wouldn't really hold that. I think today is the first time where it kind of, no, actually did come down. So, I mean, if you think this could retest 35 again, and I think the short interest on it is still very high, over 100%. I don't see why that would have changed. I don't know if everybody's covered their shorts, but something to be looking into. It still had a lot of volume today, but just not as much as previous days. It's sitting around 25, and it's been retesting 35 over and over and over again. So it's one that's on the low right now, but we'll see what happens. This one moves, this one has volume even during after hours and pre-market. It tends to keep, I don't know who's trading during these times, but people are definitely buying it. So it's a big name right now, and a lot of people have their eye on it. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Just watch this for after hours in case you're swing trading, something to pay attention to. And until next time.